Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing about state management in a React application. So earlier, state management was done using by passing values using props. So as the number of component increases, and if we have nested component, so managing the state or passing variables from one component to another component was very tedious work. So in order to optimize this, in React, we have the concept, or this concept of a React Redux was introduced to manage the state. So it's basically state management tool, and it makes it easier to pass these states to different component irrespective of their position, because the situation becomes complex when the components are nested, and again when there is a hierarchy in the component. So again, React Redux, again, it's a state management where the states are being stored in a centralized location, and irrespective of the position of a particular component, the access of the state is same for all the components. So basically, irrespective of the position in the component tree, and hence prevents the complexity of the application. So state management has become very simple by the introduction of React Redux, and for every application you need to use this React Redux. Then if I talk about the benefits, so again, as we just talked, it is a centralized state management, single store for whole application. So all the state level information, state level details are being stored in the React Redux. So we have a centralized store, optimize performance as it prevents a re-rendering of component, and makes the debugging process, because now we know that we have a centralized location and we have to get the state from there. So debugging is very simple, because in case of nested component, from one component to another component the values are being passed. So it is, if some component is at very low level, so just debugging it where the state is being not properly managed, it was difficult. But using React Redux, it is very simple. Then persistent state management is there, so data is there for long time, so the state can be managed very easily. Now the very important things for React Redux, and the core components of React Redux are basically, we have reducers. Again, reducers are the functions, those are responsible to update the state of the application in response to an action. So whenever there is an action, so action is also a component. So whenever a person clicks on a button, whenever a user clicks on update, so that is the action, and that action again invokes the reducer. This reducer is again also a function. This reducer is responsible for doing all the operations. So it updates the state of the application in responses to the action. So again, actions are simple objects that conventionally they have two properties: the type of action and the payload. The payload is the information that needs to be updated in the store. So these are the two information that is being passed by the action. We have centralized store, that is called Redux store. Redux store is the one in which we store all the state management. So it is an object that holds the application state, and action creators, these are the functions that returns action object. So sometimes we want to have multiple actions, so multiple updates in the store. So for that we have number of reducers. So in order to manage number of reducers, we have a function called combined reducers. So when we are working with Redux, we sometimes require multiple reducers. So multiple actions are needed, resulting in the requirement of multiple reducers. So there are multiple actions, so we have to create multiple reducers. So again, managing multiple reducers is a very complex or tedious task. So Redux provides a way through which what you can do, you have number of reducers, you can combine those reducers, and then there will be a root reducer that will be responsible for interaction with all the store. So there will be one reducer, and if you have multiple reducers, you can use the combined reducers function to combine it. Then we have context API. Again, earlier, in order to pass data between components, we use context API to pass global variables anywhere in the code. It helps when there is a need of for sharing state between lot of nested component. So we have this reducer, or we have state management React Redux, but there is another concept called context API through which we can pass the global information from one component to another component. So this is basically all about state management using React Redux. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching this video.